Grand Rising family, greetings and blessings. Hope you are having a beautiful day. It is absolutely beautiful today. A little chilly, but still got some sun gazing on. And I'm excited to be joined today by my friend Nicolas Pilartz, who is another Breatharian from Italy and who organizes a pranic festival in Italy every year that he's invited me to join. And he's just a very gentle soul, very good communicator and good practitioner. And so I'm excited to connect with him today. And let's see here. See if I can find him here. He's new to, or not very practiced with Instagram. So I have to walk him through this. So bear with me. We'll just wait for everybody to join here. See if I can find Nicolas. I'm looking for you, Nicolas. Might be. I forget if it's under Pronic something or Nicolas. When he joins, I should be able to just invite him. But I'm not seeing him yet. Oh, there he is. Greetings, family. Blessings. Let's see. Let's see, Nicolas. I might have to cancel the request and let me invite you. I don't know why it's not letting me accept your invite here. Oh, there we go. Here we are. Hey,
hello.
Nicolas.
Good to
Greetings.
see you.
Hey, great to
Hello,
see
Jesse.
you. Hey, how are you doing today, my friend?
Ooh, better than this, I cannot be. This is wonderful.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful. I love that answer.
So, can I? Do you see me correctly like this, or is it?
No, you're
Since
sideways that way. Yeah. Yeah, if you can you keep it like that? Is that
Yes,
all right?
yes. I'll find a way to keep it like that.
Well, greetings, my friend. So glad you could join me. I'm grateful to have you with me today and to
Thank
take an
you.
opportunity to connect and meet you a little more. We've had a little bit of interaction over the years through your invitation to the Pranic Festival there, you know. But just to be able to share some time and share a love of the pranic lifestyle, I'm grateful to have you in my community. So so thanks again. And I want to ask you today a number of things. I thought we just have a natural conversation, but I've listened to a number of your videos, and something that I find to be very helpful to share with the community is just sort of like our origin stories, how we came to pranic living, how, and why this is meaningful to us. So, if I may just ask you right off the bat, how this, came into your life, how you were called to the light, so to speak, and what's sort of the meaningfulness of this in your life?
Thank you for this question. Yes, it came to me when I was 41 years old, and it came to me through a documentary, the documentary "Living on Light," that is quite famous, produced and designed by Peter Strauminger in Austria. It was very, very famous in that period. It's still very, very good. And
Yes,
I just looked at it. Yeah, you have seen it. Yeah, it's a wonderful and. Well, I've seen that video, that documentary, and then I started to look for more information, and then I said to myself, okay, next step is to just engage in having a process, because I had enough suffering suffering in my life at 41 years old, for that information to call on something that was in me. So this what I call the supreme. It means for that information to spark inside of you, you need to have a certain amount of knowledge and experience of this world in this body. What I call the caterpillar experience. You need to have a bit of caterpillar experience in order for you to say, oh, maybe I can change something in my life, in my existence. Maybe I can upgrade to the next level. And so this is what I did basically by practicing. So in the beginning, it was very wild because I did not have anyone coaching me. So I coached myself through the information, something that I do not recommend to do for anyone because it can become a drama very, very quickly. So I invite everyone to choose a facilitator, a coach, a pranic coach, a Breatharian coach, and go through this in a very, very soft and gentle way. It's going to be effortless, and still it's going to be very challenging. So the reason why, Jesse, I'm doing this today, still doing this today, is because it changed my life from like this to it's a complete reversal. It means it took me 3 years to understand that I was surviving as a caterpillar instead of I do not know instead, but I had the option to start living. And I had this feeling, and I still have this feeling of me to feel alive. So to feel the energy of life inside of me and outside of me. And literally, what we call suffering was dissolving like snow under the sun. And this was an amazing event in my life. I said, how is this possible? Only because I'm changing the way I'm nourishing. It's unbelievable, but true. It was so evident that I had to believe. I had to. It was evidence. Everything was adding up, and this is why I'm still doing this today, because it's so wonderful, and this is why we are sharing this, because we cannot keep this for us. So thank you.
Yeah, yes. Beautiful, wonderful. I love all of that, especially it's so similar to what my life and transformation into this lifestyle has been, because I remember seeing that documentary as well early, I was having enough suffering from lifestyle, even though I was a permaculture gardener and eating organic and stuff. I was still, drinking beer and eating, burritos and everything, that everybody does. And, I just had to mentally, physically, and spiritually, I needed, this shift, and it's just been so freeing. So I can't liken it to anything else. It's like you said, like you're full of life. I feel like it's the life we're all meant to live, that we're all meant to be enlightened, through having an existence of light, in the light, and, to be playful and be sort of like childlike. I think our higher self, I tell people, I think the higher self is our inner child, just who wants to play and, experience and create. That's really our natural drives, and not, competition and, all this, stuff that's there, I think, as a result of the lifestyle of clinging that results from over consumption and lack of attention to your inner needs and the way your physical body actually works, so so interesting. Yeah. And for me, I, started sun gazing and moving into raw food, and it just started to snowball, and I kept seeing other people like Ray Mayorb and Ellie Tom, and I similarly sort of initiated into breatharian practice. But for me, I feel like it was very hard, like you mentioned, and I would suggest people find, guides like Nicolas, Ellie Tom, practitioners to guide you through. But in a way, it was really good in my experience, because it was a very long, slow, as you mentioned, gentle protracted process that I'm still in the middle of, you know, and to not force. It's not about trying to force or like makes. It's more about just like moving toward the light and being more freed over time, you know. But I don't know if you want to speak to any of that, but uh,
Yes, of course. It's what we call uh, suffering is actually going to help us to. There's only one way is to experience, and through experience we're going to gather information, and when the information is going to transform in suffering, we are going to have something to think about. And because the suffering is going to be at one moment is going to be unbearable, so we are going to start looking for something else, and this is when we want to change our information, because it is all about the field of information. So whatever you're doing, sooner or later suffering is going to come. You can maybe navigate in a way that suffering is going to be less than others, but everyone is here to experience, and it's not because you're experiencing less suffering that it's your true human purpose. Your true human purpose is to experience, and then from that experience you're going to upgrade. You're going to transmute the information. It means I was a smoker for 20 years. So I went through that, and now I can speak to other smokers. I say, and I can speak to other people who went through, who are in the suffering, because I was raised in the city of Paris. I was raised amongst competition, amongst violence, amongst street fights, you know, so amongst the drugs, amongst when you're raised in a city like that. So it's suffering is there for a purpose. It's not to avoid, it's to understand, because this is what is going to bring you to the change, and to understand the causes of effect that brought you in the suffering. So sometimes it's an old suffering of 20,000 years ago. So it becomes a bit more difficult to understand in that case, or maybe it's even 200,000 years ago, you know. So we come from a very, very animal states, where people come from starvation even 100 years ago. So it's okay to have a part of humanity that is overeating, because there's a period, and still now today there's a part of humanity that is not eating enough, you know. So it's about having abundance of information. When abundance of information is in you, and then you look for something else, and luckily people like us, and this is, it's not luckily, it is like a perfection of our of the information that is happening to our civilization, because we have to upgrade now. Maybe 1,000 years ago we did not need to upgrade,
yeah,
but now we have to upgrade.
yeah,
It's sustainable. It has to, we need to find a way to be sustainable on this planet. Otherwise, the same way we use arrows and bows, we are using missiles. It's, no one is safe now. No way.
yes. Oh man, you just spoke to so many things just there, you know, the importance of suffering, you know, as, you know, not something to avoid, but as a vital part of the path and growing into a full human being, you know, and it's something we often, you know, seek pleasure and we try to avoid pain, and really we should embrace it all to be able to live and grow, you know, into fullness from the bitter and the sweet fruits of life, you know. And then, you know, this thing of this ongoing war and the trauma, you know, from the suffering of our own life. But like you said, this could go back tens, 20,000, 30,000, 100,000 years more, you know, and most likely does, you know. There's this whole biblical idea of like the fall from grace, but there, you know, there is evidence on the planet that of us maybe being the pyramid builders, that we were breatharians in the past, that we were able to move objects with our mind. That is all conjecture, but it's all possibility based on what evidence we see in archaeology of our history, you know, that we have this amazing potential that in this age of information, it's sort of like the reawakening of the Library of Alexandria. And we live in like the best of times, the worst of times. because we have access to more of this information and now the breatharian arts and occult information, occult science about the body and health. And now we really need to use those skills and open up the potential of our consciousness and our bodies to solve the problems of the world today and to move to mature past this like adolescent stage of like violence and competition and you know oversexed, over consumptive youth that we've been in. So I love everything you just spoke to, and it was, you know, I had some questions like ahead of time for you, and that's like kind of ties into one of them. It's like, you're, what do you see like the vision of the future to be with, you know, the potential of things that are rising now, like the breatharian lifestyle, like permaculture and regenerative agriculture and methods to heal our ecology, and you know, what's your view on the futurescape?
Thank you. It's going to be a very, very gentle transition. Sometimes maybe a bit quicker, sometimes a bit slower. It depends where you are and which country on the planet. But it's going to take everyone. It is taking everyone. Everyone needs to suffering. The causes of suffering is only because of the too much food we are consuming. So we need to find balance with that. So we need to. This is why Breatharianism is now speaking loud. It's louder and louder. It's a solution for all the problems that we are facing since the beginning of our humanity. So when you understand the impact of Breatharianism on our civilization, it's just going to be beautiful, because you don't need to become you don't need to be human doing. You just need to be human being.
Yes.
It means it's going to be very much different. I'm in agriculture like you. Since a few years, and I just planted some olive trees because we use the olive oil. I'm a beehive keeper also, because we use the honey. We use everything that is liquid in our processes for the transition from solidity to liquidity. This is the first step, because our body is made of fluids. So this is why Breatharianism is not about not eating, but it's about having a conscious choice. Food freedom. It means you're going to choose what you're going to put in your system, in your temple, and slowly you're going to see that with evidence, because my body is the same as 12 years ago. The only difference is 12 years ago I was eating 3 times a day solid food, and now I'm drinking 3 times a day, and I'm feeling better than before when I was 20 years old. So I know who I am now and what I went through. So for me, it's completely evident. There's no questioning about that. So it has to be a gentle and slow change, because we are facing our habits and our memories, and our ancient information has to be written again in a very soft and gentle way. But it is already happening. There are more and more, and there are many people doing it unconsciously. It means we do not even need to speak it out in this way, but it's going to match up with science. It's going to match up sooner or later. We are just going to be on the same table around speaking how it should be done and how to organize it in a very, very soft way. So the future is bright. It's completely, fully bright. And we're going to drop all the weapons. We're going to start walking more. We're going to start enjoying life more. And we are going to starting to be really what we are doing now. Me and you, Jesse, everyone is going to do. We are designed to be gardeners.
Yeah. Yes.
The Garden of Eden is going to really, really install itself like it should be, because the original sin is done. It's okay. It's no longer a sin. We have gained again the trust of life, because through Breatharianism we are getting back to our original state, the natural state of being. Original sin. I always give two answers to this: creation and evolution. So even if we come from evolution, this is an evolutionary process that is here today for us to embrace, without speaking about where we come from. We do not even need that. And what is important is, can we do this? Yes, we are doing it. Me and you, we are doing it. So it can be done.
Mhm. I feel like this is the first layer to break, in breatharianism, in that, like you mentioned, you are facing through fasting, through liquidarianism, like you're breaking up the physical stagnation in your body, but you're also liberating like toxic stuck emotions and traumas, your own and your ancestral traumas and stuff. And that I love your emphasis on gentleness, that this process is about being gentle. People are hurting themselves trying to move too quickly into this sort of thing, and to take that attitude of self-care that is really focused on being gentle, and that everything else will naturally arise. It in cultures inside of you, and when you practice, like you said, land arts, this is another way to practice the gentleness that you start to learn to self-direct, like practicing on plants and animals and things around you, people, you know and through this process, I think we can create heaven on earth, and I think that's where we're headed. I have that same feeling and vision, and often what happens in nature is like things will be extremely tough, and then there'll be an evolutionary like catapult for the biology, where things really evolve very quickly. And I think, like you said, whether this is a new evolutionary arising or something that's coming back, I sort of think it's coming back in our revolution around the galactic center, ending the Kali Yuga, moving back to the galactic center. We're being washed by more of the light from the, galactic sun, and it's waking up our DNA. And I think you're right. I think this is just waking us all up from the inside out. If you look at now versus 10 years ago, how many people are choosing vegan diets, or choosing or doing sun gazing, or fasting, or doing all of these arts of breatharianism. It's starting to just become modern biohacking that people need to overcome the health challenges, like the direct right here and now health challenges that they're going through. So that kind of leads into another question I have for you today. I want to be respectful of your time, so let me know if you need to go. But
I
I just
have time. It's fine.
okay,
It's
okay,
fine, Jesse. Thank you.
good. I'm just wondering about like your daily practices. I think it's helpful to just share with the community, because I feel like my experience with breatharianism is it's similar to like gardening or art or anything. Everyone has their own way or style toward the breatharian arts, and people resonate with the different, practices or styles or habits, So I'm just wondering what your habits are that help support you in breatharianism, if I may.
Well,
Like,
I'm a Breatharian coach, so this by coaching others and seeing how simple it is, and seeing the result of the people I coach. I'm a Breatharian gardener. I raise Breatharians basically. So this is my mission now. It can
that's
maybe
awesome.
change from a day to another, but
I love that.
and to see the results and to see the people just so simply, so with a very, very soft and very gentle process that's completely different with everything that is said in the Breatharian way, that we do not practice fasting. There's no dry days or water days anymore. There's not even drop. Some people are worried because they are not dropping body mass weight, but this is exactly what you want. You do not
Yes, I
want your
agree.
body mass weight to drop. You want the
Mhm.
magic to happen. So, but the mind is getting blown away, and this is exactly what you want. You want finally the monkey mind to step down, because the monkey mind does not step down. This civilization that is based on monkey mind is always going to be the ruler. This cannot happen, because otherwise we are still in Kali Yuga, as you said.
Yes.
This is the age of Satyug. what is Satyug is finally the mind is dissolved. The mind is now simply the mind, not monkey mind. It has lost the monkey part. The mind is a tool for the wisdom, for what we call the supreme. What is the wisdom? Is the energy of life. Where is that? Is of in the first place, it's not outside of you, it's inside of you. So when you bring a peace to the war that is inside of you, because inside of every human right now, there's a war happening. All the organs are swollen, the intestines are full, all the atoms and all the cells, they are completely crazy. You know, the system is going off limits, and people are it's just a question of time that the dis-ease and the problems are going to come to everyone, and this is happening. Everyone is seeing that all the problems are getting to younger people, younger, until adults see it, until we are here to speak it, because we bring peace. Breatharians just bring peace where? To them. And through the peace they bring to them, what happens is naturally you generate more energy. You are, who is getting the light? The light are your cells, or your atoms. And this is what activates and brings more consciousness and more awareness. So it is so simple that my practice it's actually no practice. It means the less practice I'm doing and the better I feel. It's so simple. We already have everything. There's nothing to fast about. There's no praying to do, because everything is already here. But people do not have the awareness of that. By simply with the evidence, because we use very, very simple tools to make people aware of it. It's coming to them, and the mind slowly steps down, and people enter the healing zone. People enter the peace zone. It means the blissful zone, and then it's done. It's just a question of time, and time. It needs time. You need years before it gets installed in the cells, because before you channel enough energy to restore first the system. So it's not going to happen in 9 or 21 days. Yes. But it's going to happen in 9 or 21 months. Yes.
Or more. I feel like I started, thank you for that. I feel like for myself, I basically, and I would suggest this to anyone out there who is like just moving to these various modalities that help you feel peace and healing in your body, whether it's like herbalism or sun gazing or grounding or fasting or juicing or, whatever it is, like those, just following your own. I love the way you answered it, because it was no process. You follow your own nose, basically. The thing that you need will be there right in front of you, the thing that resonates with you. And then you can just work with that. And then you don't have to contrive. The next thing that you will need will arrive, if there's a thing or a person or a teacher, the right
you need the coaching, you need the correct information.
Yeah
because if you do not have the correct information, you are going to get into traps, and that trap can lead you away of what is so simple. It's going to make you complicated. If someone says to you, or maybe you understood it, but it's not about the sun, it's not about the moon, it's not about the nature, it's about who you are. So it means that you can be in the cave 6 months and be fully, it's not going to make any difference when it's going to be installed. You can be on the moon, you can be on the cave, you can be alone. You'll never be alone again. It means your life force energy is what is matter, and you need to set your awareness on that, on nothing else. But you can get lost very easily if you follow other indications.
That's very true. Yes. I mean, it's really, that's where, I see Eli Tom join. He would say, meditation is the foundation. And I agree with that. And what you just said is like, it's really all within you. And that's kind of what I was getting at, is it will naturally sort of arise. But like all things, if you want to do it, if you want to advance and feel that go quickly and not go into snags on the way, it's very important to have a teacher and a good guide. I'm grateful to Ellie Tom. I'm grateful to you, some of your videos, you know, Jazz Muhin, Ray Mayor, all that stuff was like super important guidance I needed as I started to move into, you know, breatharianism. And at first I wasn't even aware it was happening. When as I transitioned, I just, you know, I had heard about sun gazing and HRM and how he was a breatharian. And I was just interested in consciousness expansion and feeling good, you know, and I needed to meditate again because I had dropped the practice because I was a young father. I had all these kids running around. I was running my business. And so just bringing those back into life. And then my wife turned me on to raw food. And I would do a smoothie in the morning. And I agreed that with the liquids, and Ellie Thomas said the same thing. When you bring in the liquid nutrition, just that alone starts because the ease it has on your digestive process, the cleansing, you know, opens up the energetic channels, opens up the pranic channels, supplies you with that micronutrient that is what your cells are after. Your body's basically a juicer. So everything you put in here, it has to break down. So if you put like a cooked steak in here, you imagine not much juice comes out and a lot of stuff sticks on the way. But if you put like, you know, some soup or some fresh juice or broth or tea, it just washes through. And this change that happens internally starts to precipitate the change upon itself. And that was my experience too. And I think I've been practicing the breath, you know, and pretty well breatharian actually for years until I started to think about, you know, and actually intend practicing. And then it was so important for me psychologically, and still is, to have those guideposts of coaches and people who have been there before me. You know, the words that you have just shared right now, they're echoes of my own thoughts, but the mind tends to question on this path, on any path. As you're on your way to it, you will sort of question yourself, and doubt creeps in. And so when you have other guides and other people to support you, that's what I think is starting to burgeon, is more of a community in the breatharian community of support. You know, that it's starting to grow enough now that people like yourselves who are holding the festivals, I know I'd like to talk to you sometime about this too, maybe privately, but Jerome and Nabiha and I are trying to get together a USA pranic festival. Start when Ellie Tom too. We want to bring all the people, you know, we can, and it'd be great to, you know, hop from Europe to USA to, you know, and to develop this more in the future, this global community. And because there are people who, if you're called to this, you know it. It's just so exciting to you. And yeah, you can get yourself into a bit of trouble if you don't have good guides. So, sorry, that was a long kind of merry-go-round around those thoughts, but I just felt the need to like sort of share my own experience with that. So, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jesse. Yes, I think it's you know, there are many countries that are organizing conventions, talks, festivals also on this topic, and Breatharianism is only one name that on the many names that are used by you know, in Russia they call it autonomy. And so yeah, I will fully support any festivals that are happening. Mostly in the United States, just needs it so much. So I'm trying for so many years to organize something in the States, but last time I wanted to come, everything was planned, and then COVID came, and then I had to cancel my flight and everything. But yes, I American people they're just so ripe for this information, but it has to be the correct information. It's not about fasting. It's so simple that it is mind blowing. You know, it is It is about, it's not even about, when we talk about liquids, the liquids are just there to make it gentle, to make it softer, but it's because you cannot, when you remove an addiction that is from a day to another, you cannot do it. You have to go gently. This is why we have all the knowledge on how to help people to, it's not the end of food, it's the beginning of food, but you're going to be able to choose when and how and with whom and what you're going to eat, and you're going to see the causes and effects. This has to be you have to follow your own process sooner or later, but you need to engage in it, and the way you have to engage in it has to be sustainable. You cannot drive fast if you have never done it.
Yeah.
You cannot even have on water days are very, very dangerous. Also, I was facilitating coaching water days, 21 days on water for 5 years. So we have a huge knowledge of what is sustainable or not, because understand that you want to speak and we want to speak to 8 billions of human beings, and without counting the aliens, because we are very glad if all the aliens come over and listen to us, because this is for all the living creatures in the universe, and this is why they are maybe listening to what is happening here. So we want to bring peace, not peace only through our ways of doing, our ways of living, but peace to every creatures, everyone. We need to start speaking, embracing. This is the golden era. It means we're going to change our ways, but completely. But it has a start. We need to bring peace where there is war, and the first war where it is happening, it is the human body. Absolutely.
Yes, I agree. Everything you just said is golden nectar, 100%. And it's this confusion also that people have, about manifestation and the way things work. We want our world to change, and we go to presidents or politicians or this and that. But the transformation is within ourselves. If we stop having a war inside, and if we quit warring with our own body by giving it all this toxicity and having an emotional war with ourselves, being hard on ourselves, and being, really sort of forceful, opening up to that. I feel like this is the promise of breatharianism, is opening up to your natural unfolding, and that is a beautiful, like a flower unfolding, a beautiful, delicate, precious occurrence, and that doesn't come with force, and is as natural and perfect as can be, and simple as can be, and this is just part of our sort of collective commons and inheritance, as part of what our bodies actually are, and we've just been missing for millennia, and but I like your once again, the emphasis on gentle practice and moving your way gently to it. And I drive fast 23 hours a day and then juice for an hour, but it took me 15 years to get to that place, and it didn't start like that at all. And I would encourage people, because I think there's a danger. Some people, with like eating disorders, or people, even some of the words of some of my friends in the Breatharian community, who will talk about food being toxic. It actually is. But if people start to develop a mentality of avoidance of food because of toxicity, they're not going to be able to get their bodies to make this slow transition to prana, this gentle transition, where you're going to want to use food as the path to get there, like you said.
Absolutely.
So
It's, you see, we have categories to explain how human beings are functioning in this Breatharian paradigm. So there is the category 4, are the humans that only consume less than 10 calories per day. So it means, and some of them, they just even not consuming anything. So they are on dry mode all the time. For them, if they drink water is toxic, because their system is no longer used to it. So when your system does not have a link with what you're consuming, it's toxic. It's so simple as that. If you have a habit, that habit is what is the most important happening that you need to understand, that everyone needs to understand. So this is why we say to people, if you wherever you come from, you need to respect yourself, because some people think they need to have organic food and fresh food, but I do not consume anything fresh, because it's not the consumption of liquids that is supporting my energy. No, it's my consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So I consume coffee in the morning with honey, hot chocolates, and sometimes I consume, because I want my life to be simple, but I'm very rarely I consume fresh stuff, because it's not about that. But I fully understand people that consume fresh stuff because they just want it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's how you want it that is important. It's
Yeah.
the freedom that is important.
Right.
But if you enter privation again, if you enter restriction again, do not we have enough restriction and privation in our life?
Yeah.
This has to be abundance. This is why
Yeah.
when we coach people, we say to people, you are free to consume whatever you want, but start to consume more liquids than solids. And this is the beginning, because the awareness has to come slowly, not because from my mouth, but from their own knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it has to be a very, very sustainable. And then what is toxic is whatever hurts you. But if it's not hurting you, you have to consume it, please. So this is why we say even to people, if McDonald's is so great for you and is not harming you, it's perfect. You must not stop it. On the contrary,
Mm-hmm.
do not let anyone enter your field of power, because otherwise what we are doing, we're surrendering again for ideology. So if we surrender for ideology, so it means that my friends who are category 4, not consuming anything, they do not judge. They do not say everything is toxic, at least because they understand where they are. They understand where they are. If you, and they do not make anyone do what they are doing. No, because otherwise people are just going to die one after the other. Can you imagine someone running a marathon when they have never run even one mile?
Yeah.
So exactly. This is why whatever you do and I do, we cannot make the others do what we are doing. You need to bring them from level 1, from where they are, slowly through a journey of awareness of what they are doing, if they want. Because we say to people, food is not a problem until it becomes a problem. When you suffer, then
it's the
maybe yeah.
Yeah, it's that a toxic accumulation that happens from a habit that has grown out of control and out of proportion, that ends up being problematic and causing disease. This, the body filling up with this accumulation, and that's one of the benefits of working with just liquids. I do juice coaching, and it's that same thing of just, it's also, people who are interested in the breatharian path, most of them buy into the consciousness of raw food, into liquidarianism, into breatharianism, sort of as a segue, and I think it's pretty sensible. I definitely feel like with fasting, with my experience with fasting and moving people through fasting, that if you move them from, a heavy standard diet slowly into raw foods and then juices, then it's easier. And then you can juice and have as much juice as you want. You can have 4,000 calories worth of juice in a day, and be, satiated and have energy, and not go into like those realms that happen with deep fasting and dry fasting stuff. And when people get hurt from fasting, it's usually not from actually fasting itself, but from autotoxicity, and the toxicity that has been released from inside the body into the bloodstream because you haven't done this gentle path that you're talking about, you know. So there is, you know, the mind's ability to transmute, but there's the mind and the body are connected. And so if we treat the body well and we give it what it needs, and to me, I like to practice sort of like the Essene thing of um, connecting with the angels of earth, wind, fire, and water for healing and nutrition, you know. So the foods of the earth and grounding, you know, uh, good waters, you know, spring water or just the best water you can find, or, you know, teas or juices or what have you know, get in the sunshine or in the light, or, you know, be exposed to the fire and get good air, you know. And it's just like grandma's wisdom: just get out in the sunshine and eat healthy food and get some exercise and drink plenty of water, and you know, and that's like the breatharian arts, you know. um,
So we do it in a different way because we want it to be sustainable for everyone. So there's a cellular intelligence of the body that the mind does not understand. So this is why we do not consider the mind. We just consider just to engage, and the engagement is not about it's just changing the to liquids. But even junk liquids is not a problem. It's not a problem at all. What is important is to bring the peace to the digestive tract in the beginning. And we do not use water much. On the contrary, because water has 0 calories. So we want people, as the addiction is through the calories, salt and sugar, we want people to have all that happening still. But we have people even blending fish and blending meat, and it's not a problem because you see, Jesse, it's too slow if you need to go through vegan, raw food, and slowly like that. No, there's a much, much quicker way, and it is the liquids. But the liquids does not mean juicing. It means something else. It means you are no longer using your jaws. You are no longer using your animal tools. The biting, the crushing, the ripping. So you're the chewing, all of that, you bring peace to that. It means it's a complete shift in your consciousness, and you need to go through that. And if you manage to go through that, and you need coaching to go through that, you enter bliss. Literally, you enter a bliss because you're changing your animal humans to humans that are no longer using their tools and their muscles, because everything is linked. Your brain is linked to what you're doing with your body. So if you're using your body as a blender, as an extractor, by
right.
chewing, biting, and yeah, so you know that through juice fasting, but you can even do it through liquids. You're going to help more people.
Oh yeah.
Because if you open up to more types of liquids, even salty, even cooked, and because some people, they
Yeah.
just need the flavors and the
Oh no,
textures.
I definitely recommend people, especially in our climate, in the cold, to have some cooked soups, you know, blended soups, you know. And I have them myself, you know. I have them more rarely because it's still at the point I'm at. It feels too dense, you know. But I have broths, lots of broths, like, you know, miso style broths and things like that. And, you know, our household, my wife eats meat, my kids all eat meat, all the people around me eat meat. I'm the only vegan I know. But like you said, that's my preference, you know, and that's their preference,
Yeah.
you know. And I definitely know my experience with just moving into raw food, just doing smoothies in the morning, the change that made for me, you know. So I totally resonate with that. I totally hear you there. That's amazing. Because I agree. You know, I think because I've been having these thoughts for a while of like your body is basically a juicer. You know, like you're saying, or a blender. You're just trying to break everything down. And if you're working with a blender or a juicer or just liquid food, then like more than half the work is done for you. You know? And the peace that brings on your body, just and your consciousness, all of it. And I didn't even think about like sort of the visceral experience of like, especially with flesh, chewing and ripping flesh, you know, and all of that kind of thing, you know. Fruit just turns into water in a second, you know. So I think that's where the raw foods can be a good transition for those who are called into that. Not that it has to be that way. And so I really appreciate that important delineation. But, just that the raw foods are high in enzymes, high in water. And so it breaks down easily and it's kind of already partly water, you know. Um,
Yes,
so,
but from the Breatharian point of view, nothing of that is helping you. It's an illusion. It's not about vitamins, enzymes, and all. That is not.
yeah,
It's absolutely. It's a placebo effect. This is why we do not care what liquids they are, because it's going to end up as fuel. And this is only the beginning, because it's not about having a life on liquids. Huh? We need to understand each other here.
it
It's
moves
about
beyond.
transitioning your cellular happening, and you need to restore your system, because
Mhm.
this is how the life force energy is working in you. You're generating life, so you're generating cells and atoms, but you need to reach a point where you restore your system before you really understand that yes, you're putting on mass without even drinking what you should drink. You are challenging completely science, and this is the best moment where you can finally reduce and just become fully Breatharian, slowly. When you enter category 4 easily. But some people are not designed to go there. Some people are here to enjoy more, because there is more to understand about what is happening on our human civilization right now. Yes.
Yes, and there's no judgment, It's just something in terms of breatharianism and health, pursuance of mental, physical, spiritual health. I feel that's the appeal of breatharianism to me, and that it is a important factor of every human being's life, that we need, sunshine and air and water so much more than we need food, you know, is just a plain fact, and that we're mostly water, electrical, gas beings, and to move into that consciousness and the healing of that is fantastic, but also to make things grounded and simplistic for it to be accessible to everyone who's interested. And not everyone's going to be interested. No judgment there, because we all have karmas. We're all here to actually, what's more important, in my view, is our soul's evolution. None of us are going to live past this, incarnation physically, you know. So though the wish for health would be in pursuance of the soul's education, you know, longevity and the like, and so that's, I mean, some of the goals I have. But to have the proper motivation, if you have a long life but you aren't happy, you're not in your purpose, a long life is a curse, you know. So, the really the 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 juice of life is in the feeling. That the really great thing about life is in the feeling, and that's the promise also of breatharianism for me. That's the experience I've had, is just a greater uh, sense of joy and freedom. So I don't know if you want to speak that too. I'm going to have to wrap up here in a minute, but what are your
Yes.
feelings?
No. Well, just to say that if you cannot bring evidence to you that this is working, and this is, I want to say to everyone, go and do your checkups regularly. If you engage on this process, go and do your blood test, urine test, go and do your checkups, and see what is happening, because you're going to be amazed. Because even if you do not feel anything, go and do your checkups, because it is all about that, to see the causes and effect on your health, and compare them to what was happening to you 5 years ago. You're going to be amazed, because I did my prostate. I'm 53. I did my prostate checkup. Here in Europe, they have it kind of when you reach 50, you go and do it, because you are going to have tumors. The doctor was amazed. They said, "Oh, you have a 30 years old prostate," but this is not normal, because I was a huge cheese eater before, and normally cheese is going to increase, but since my 12 years of Breatharian lifestyle, you know. So I'm very happy of this information. Thank you, doctor. You gave me you gave me my evidence, but I would not be aware if I wouldn't have gone to do that. So use all the tools available to see that it is functioning, and you do not have to, it's going to function differently on everyone. And this is, as it is the normal state of being, you're not going to be even aware of you being a Breatharian until the moment that someone tells you this is not normal, you should eat more, you should chew, you should do that, but it's not happening.
Yeah. it just becomes so normal. You feel like a normal person, just a little lighter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you do not see the difference. It means that people, even if you meet a Breatharian category 4 in the street, he's like me and you, and they live in the city. They do normal things, very normal things. And the Breatharians category 4 that I'm speaking about, they do not do any practice. It means they can be in Norway for 4 months without the sunshine. They are going to be fine, because it's not about that.
Well, that's another point I think it'd be worth mentioning before we leave, you know, and it's something you touched on before, is like the prana is actually inside our bodies. I think it actually emanates from our heart, is my inclination, is that this is a singularity, a 0 point energy field that emanates infinite love and energy.
Exactly.
And so the whole goal is to just tap into that. That's like, to me, that's like, that's the goal. That's really what matters most, you know. So grateful for this wonderful joining today, Nicolas. Thank you for spending your time with me. I'm so glad to, you know, have this chat, and I love your mind. I love the way you direct and coach. And anyone interested, you know, in going to the Pranic Festival this upcoming year, how do they reach you?
Well, they check on my go on our website, Breatharian World, but the festival is not up yet. But follow me, Nicolas Pilartz, and you can register to the newsletter, and I am on social available, and you can reach me also for coaching, Breatharian coaching. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you.
My pleasure, Nicolas. Thank you very much for joining. Yes, blessings, family. Hope you got something from this. I'm also available for juicing coaching. If you're interested, please reach out to us. We'd love to help, and hope everyone has a beautiful day out there.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Okay. Thanks, Nicolas.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.